everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we have with us my daily driver, F-150. Ignore the dirty truck and focus on this, the Redtiger F-17 Elite dash cam. This is what we're going to be installing today. And do I need to repeat it? So many people have repeated it, talked about it, beat the unfortunate horse to death, and continued to beat it. You need a dash cam in your car. This is the second thing you should have. You should get your license, you should get a dash cam, and then you should get your car. You should not be driving without a dash cam, which is what I've been doing and which is why we're changing it today. And as always, we'll have this link down in the description below if you're interested in getting one of these yourselves. Today, I'm going to be installing it. We'll drive around, get some footage, show off the quality and how everything looks, and just kind of give an overview of my experiences with this. As always, the hardest part about doing any electronics is just the wiring, and I'll go through and show you how easy one of these is to install. Even though this is two separate dash cams, this is a dash cam looking forward, completely separate unit, and then you have to wire to the back, looking backwards, a completely separate unit. Before we get into today's video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to check us out on Instagram, Tenza_motorsports. So to go over this real quick before we open it up, we'll do an unboxing, and then, like I said, we'll install it and show all the features. We'll go over some of the features here: 4K plus 1080p plus 2.5K, Starvis 2, and then full night color, which is nice. Some dash cams, when it starts getting dark, kind of like the quality drops off and things like that. 3-inch touchscreen, voice control, 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi 6. Yeah, there's not a ton to this. It's pretty straightforward. Not much other information on the box. Redtiger, truly peace of mind, F-17 Elite Smart Dash Cam. So let's go get this unboxed and we'll go get it put onto the vehicle and get some driving footage. All right, and then before we get started, just want to show off that they did send me this bag here, and we'll go through this one real quick first, since this is kind of noisy to work with and makes a lot of crinkly plastic noises. This is wire harness. I believe these are for fuses, so a bunch of different fuse styles, which means that we're probably going to be tapping into a fuse at some point. Again, this looks intimidating, but this is really fairly simple to do. And then, like I said, this looks like the, oh yep, okay, so these are just plug connectors, no crimping or anything like that, which is nice. And this plugs into the dash cam itself. A lot of dash cams just run all the time and they'll run your battery out. This right here, you can actually choose at what point you want your battery to stop fueling the camera. So if the camera sees below 11.6 volts, it'll shut off and stop pulling battery. 12 volt, 12.4. Most of the time I put it at 12. Most of my vehicles don't really have much of a problem around 12. But if you've got a brand new battery, you could probably get away with 11.6. Packaging here is really nice. I am a big sucker for an experience while opening something. I was always a really big fan of like Apple products, opening Apple products up. And really nice presentation here, nice foam fitted area for the dash cam to sit. So here's the front. It looks like there's a, you can adjust the camera there like that. That's pretty cool. That screen is fairly large. I didn't think it was going to be that big. Oh, you know what? Look at this. There is a camera. So there's 3 cameras on this unit. That's pretty cool. Kind of want to go over the pricing real quick before we get too far along. This camera right here, as this sits, and it also comes with a 128 gigabyte micro SD card here, retails for just under 200 bucks and goes on sale fairly regularly for around 150 bucks. So if you keep an eye out on the sales, you might be able to get one of these on a really good deal. So this just kind of goes through all the stuff that it has on it. Adhesive, GPS mount, memory card slot, front camera, power ports, rear port, screen, inside camera. So like I said, it's got a camera that faces the inside of the car. Power button, mode button, OK button, right and left button. So this actually has even more features than I thought it did, which is really cool. And that's why I unbox it with you guys on camera, so I get to learn the same time you do, and it doesn't sound like just like some rehearsed presentation or something. So user's manuals here, and then the, let's see here, app QuickBook. So this is like what app it is and how to use the app, which is cool. User's manual, which is actually fairly big user's manual. This other manual that you saw earlier that came out of the packaging for all the wires, that's just a manual for like how to use you know, tap into the fuse box and stuff like that. There's the rear camera. It does hold its place really well. I do have a split glass window that's got that's electric, so I'll just have to stick this on the one side that doesn't interfere with any of that, so it won't quite be on center, but I'll get it as close as we can. Rear camera cable, cable clips and adhesive. Then this one here is a little clip tool. And then this is a power cable for to use the cigarette lighter. If you don't want to tap it into this system here, I believe you can just use this. So let's go get this started and I'll show you how to do it. All right, to start this project, we are going to first identify the fuse box that's inside. So on the F-150s, I don't know if you can see this, but just back here on the passenger side, there's a fuse box right there. The next thing we're gonna need to do is identify what fuses turn on and off when you flick the key. So right here, these tell you what they need to do. So you've got ground, you've got battery. This is a constant battery, so it's on all the time. And then right here, you'll also see one that says ACC, which is accessory. So when you put the key in your car, you put it in and you flick it to the first position, that's accessory. So what we'll be doing is finding out what the fuses do. You don't have to like map them all out, but we need to find one that turns on when it's in that first position. Ground should be pretty easy. Most of the time there's grounding blocks, or you could even just find like a bare piece of metal to run like a self-tapper in. So the ground isn't a big deal. Those two packs, the two Ziplocs that we have of these fuse tapper things, I have 2 of each size. So what we'll do is we'll find one that's on all the time and you'll plug that in for your power, and you'll find one that switches with the accessory and you'll plug that into your accessory. And then all you have to do is, like I said, find a ground. That's not super crazy. And I'll show you what that looks like when we're all done. The next thing I'm gonna do is on this truck, I'm going to set this to 12 volts. So that is on 12 volt, and I would recommend 12 volts on most vehicles. This wire here, I will probably run either down through here and over and around, or I might be able to come up through here. And what we're trying to do is just get it over into this area. Once you can get it into this molding here, you can sneak that wire underneath this. You run all the way up, then you can run that wire into there, around, up, and then the way you go across the headliner here is your headliner doesn't just sit flat, it kind of got a little bit of a curve to it, and you can run that wire right inside that curve all the way down to your dash cam. If you happen to be putting this in your 2012 F-150, then you're welcome. If it's a different vehicle, just find those 3 and you should be good to go. I did get kind of lucky, but most of you will too. If you look just back, let's see if I can get the light back in there. So all ground right there. And then now all you have to do is find one that's constant power and then one that's accessory. You do that by using a voltmeter. Voltmeters can be found for as little as like 10 bucks. Here is my Craftsman one, and I always check on the battery first. So I got positive and negative, and it's reading properly, because if you have these like in the wrong area or on the wrong setting here, you can misdiagnose a lot of things. Now that we know this is working, we'll go back into the vehicle here. I will put this kind of over by me. I will hold this to the ground. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. I will hold this on one of the fuses. Then I'll look for the readout to see if I've got 12 volts or not. If you're seeing 6 or 3, don't use that one at all. It has to be 12 volt. Now I'm gonna start cycling the key and see if I can find a fuse that is my accessory. Now that I found a constant fuse, now you gotta be careful. When you find a constant fuse, just because the battery's off doesn't mean that it's constant. Sometimes you have to cycle the key to make sure that it doesn't turn off. Some of them do switch off. So they're on when nothing's happening and you do go to turn the key on, and then sometimes they switch off. So once I found a fuse that works, and then I found the proper tap here, I'm going to now take the fuse, stick it right there just like that, and then I'll plug this back into where the fuse goes. Now you've got the fuse where it used to be, and now we are stealing power from that location and going out to our constant. This will go to the yellow wire. All right, I want to show the final setup before we start running the wire up the side here. It looks like a bit of a mess still because I need to organize this. I want to show off what this looks like. So there is the ground. And then there is the accessory. And there is the constant. And I'll read out what those are real quick here, just in case you have this vehicle. So number 32 right there is my accessory. And then number, I believe here, 16 is my constant. Now, unfortunately, this cover here, I can't snap back on because as you can see here, it's like really low profile. Most of the time you'll be able to put your covers back on. This one I just wasn't able to. So I'm gonna set this back up in there just so I have it. If this was an exterior fuse panel, I probably would be a little bit more leery about leaving this off, but this isn't the only cover. There's a couple other covers, and then again, it's inside the vehicle. So anyways, a little sad I can't put this back on, but we should be okay. So I'm going to now take the power cable and start running up and then over, and I'll show that process off as well. All right, and then I'm gonna give one other piece of advice, and I've said this before in other videos. You want this, the length of this to start up here. So however long you need it to be, you wanna start it over there and then run it back. And then your excess you can hide up back behind here. If you start down here and you run it over there and you've got a big ball of excess wire, then you're trying to hide it where people can see it. So always start over, I mean, have a plan, have a game plan. Don't just start running wires and then when you get over here, like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna go. But make sure you measure this out and it's sitting roughly where you want it to be, you know, like an inch extra, not, you know, 10 inches of extra wire, because then you're trying to, you know, do wire management up right where everybody's looking. So I'm going to run this back up behind the headliner and show everybody what that looks like when we're all done. All right, so we have the length of wire like we want it to be. So right there, as soon as I run it across the A-pillar here, you can start then tucking it back behind this, all the way down, and then back into here, which leads us to here. So I'm not actually crossing this area here. I'm actually going to just shortcut through there into the fuse box. And that's, like I said earlier, you wanna make sure you have a plan. And so that's what we're gonna be doing. And then that way that leaves this little box here in an area I can get to. And then if I ever need to adjust anything, you just pop that panel and it's right there. All right, we're gonna go through the startup and a small setup process here. So we do have power. Going to press and hold the power button. There you go, get the little Redtiger logo. English. Okay, I've got a couple cameras here that are missing because I still have the tape on the lenses. So hold on just a moment, let me get these off. So there's the front camera. And just based off this little screen here, looks like it's really good quality. And then here, let's take off this camera here. And there we are, look at that. That looks really good. Pretty happy with that. Sorry, recording a screen isn't always the best way to do this. It looks really good in here, but what does it look like when there's stuff really far away and when we're moving? That's when you're really gonna get to see the quality of the camera. So let's go take the truck for a quick spin and then we'll wrap this video up. I just kind of want to give the basics again. If I showed off everything that this thing's got and all the app, we can be here for a very long time. So let's go see what this thing can do. All right, so I have had the Redtiger dash cam in my truck for close to a month now, and I have really, really, really liked it. And the main thing that I like about it, and I'll be honest, I didn't even get the app for it. And I know I'm probably supposed to be reviewing the app as well, but sometimes you don't need notifications on your phone. Sometimes you don't need it just sitting there constantly bothering you. Sometimes it's just it's there. If I get into a wreck, if I need to go back, I can do that. I think on my wife's car, we did something a little bit different. She's got a different dash cam, and I'll have the link to that video here as well, where we reviewed a different dash cam. And this one here is a much better dash cam. It's got 128 gigs, and obviously you can buy bigger SD cards for other dash cams. In fact, you could put a 512 in this or whatever you want to buy. I wanted to show off more of this camera, but this video would be like super long. And so if there's a lot of interest, maybe I'll do a part 2 and go over the app, which again, I haven't used yet. I like that it's just a dash cam. I can still use it like just like a normal dash cam. So obviously, as you can see here, I've been playing some clips of me driving around a little bit. I got those the first day I put them on my computer, and then I haven't really done anything else. Haven't been in a wreck since then, thank goodness. And the dash cam is working out fine. Attaching it the way we did with the, I think we actually hardwired it to the truck instead of just like plugging it into the cigarette lighter. That's a much better way of doing this. The battery and everything like that, keeping the dash cam on or activating it when the truck starts, that is so much better of a system. My cigarette lighters on my truck are all the time, and so the camera doesn't know when to shut off. I'm so happy that they included the wiring to be able to do that on that dash cam. So again, a great unit, and I will have it linked down in the description. Enjoy some of this footage here, and that's really honestly, like, go get a dash cam. This video here, obviously we're talking about the Redtiger, just go get a dash cam. You need to spend 150, 200 bucks. I would definitely go and get one like this. I don't care if you take a $20 2015 Android and duct tape it to your windshield, go get a camera for your car. All right, I just want to do an audio check to see how well the mic picks up on this. Other dash cams I've reviewed in the past, this is one of their weaker points, is the audio. I mean, it sounds really bad. It sounds like, you know, you're talking to a speakerphone on somebody that they've got like their phone like 20 feet away from them. So hopefully this turns out fairly decent. The other thing is, and I hope that the audio is coming through pretty good, because I've got one other thing I want to add at the very end of this video. The SD card, as nice as it is to have that in there, if you try to put that in, as far as I can tell, in any Mac or PC computer, it doesn't want to talk to the file at all. So if something were to happen, get on your phone immediately, download that file, save it, screen record it, whatever you got to do to save that, and then you can actually, once you download it on the app will hold it, and then you can go from the downloads and then save it to your photo gallery. So anyways, just thought I'd throw that in there. I've been having a hard time with the SD card. This video is actually supposed to be out slightly sooner, but I wasn't able to pull footage from the SD card onto a computer. So just leave that SD card in the unit itself, and then use your phone app to get footage that you need. Thanks again, and we'll see everybody in the next video.
Bam!